scheme in 1694. The Bank of England was chartered. The merchants provided their gold. The government got its war funding. And for the first time in history, national debt became permanent, not a problem to solve, a feature of the system. And here's what nobody explains about why this was brilliant for the bankers. The government paid 8% interest annually on 1.2 million pounds. That's 96,000 pounds per year, forever. The merchants had essentially bought an annuity from the government. As long as England existed, as long as it could tax, the money flowed. And if they wanted their gold back, they could sell the banknotes to someone else. The debt was transferable but never repayable. But Patterson's real genius was what came next. The Bank of England was given the right to issue banknotes backed by the government's debt. They could print paper money up to the value of the loan. This created money out of debt. The government's IOU became currency. And the more the government borrowed, the more money could be created. This is the template. Government borrows, never repays principal, pays interest forever, and the debt itself becomes money. It's brilliant if you're a banker, catastrophic if you're a taxpayer, because you're paying interest on debt that will never disappear. Within 50 years, every major European power copied the model. France created the Banque Générale. The Netherlands already had sophisticated banking, but formalized government debt issuance. And by 1790, the newly independent United States adopted the same system. Alexander Hamilton, who we talked about before, explicitly modeled America's financial system on the Bank of England: permanent debt, interest paid from taxes, bonds traded as currency. Patterson died in 1719, not particularly wealthy, despite creating the Bank of England. But the system he built persists 331 years later. The Bank of England still exists. British government debt has never been paid off. It's been refinanced, rolled over, and expanded, but never eliminated. The debt trap was set in 1694, and every government since has walked into it willingly. Every country on earth is in debt. The United States owes $38 trillion. Japan owes $9 trillion. The entire
I got older and wiser. Older and wiser.
Gizmo is our pink pug. He is an albino pug. Now, he is the whole reason that we started.
In the 1960s, the U.S. military.
Super Global. Purdue Global.
Vô chung hả? Mẹ có vô không? Có mình bà. Đây, hai em bé đây, hai bé gái luôn nha. Một bé 2,5 kg, một bé 2,3 kg. Chồng không có vô chung.
Hey, baby, so happy to see you. I'm pretty sure.
You're still on the call, Alex. Hey, can you explain that workflow again? Just walk me through it one more time.
Mommy, which country am I?
Run your simulation. Of course, birds aren't real. Pigeons are just my spies. Have you ever seen a baby pigeon? I run your simulation. Of course, we can watch it without you knowing, and we don't even need a camera to do it. It's called remote viewing. It's like
Why didn't I try this test?
You make $10,000 per month. How much did you make in a year?
No, Jalen, shut up. Jalen, shut up.
If I made $10,000 per month, how much I make in a year? $12,000. Man, go sit your silly ass down somewhere. You made $10,000 per month. How much did you make in a year?
No, Jalen, shut up. Jalen, shut up.
If I made $10,000 per month, how much I make in a year? $12,000. Man, go sit your silly ass down somewhere. You made.
What I don't live for is
Just waiting on Mimi to text me and ask me what in the world this is.
So my husband texts me.
These sweet gum balls. Now, they are green in the beginning, and we'll talk about that in another video. However, you can make tea with this. I would boil my water and steep these for about 10 minutes. If you have stomach issues, they fall from the trees. Sweet gum balls for stomach issues. Please do your own research and follow us for more, because y'all know God is good all the time.
Good morning, Joe.
Seriously.
All right, why is this guy dipped?
Hey, Wendy, what's up?
Why is this guy dipped in gold?
Boozy, what's good, bro?
My advice.
Facebook debates are crazy, yo. Motherfuckers, I don't know. Anyway, I'm not gonna keep going back and forth.
Okay, good morning, Joe.
It's just social media. I had my meeting at the Chamber of Commerce this afternoon. They want me to be a member. And they want me to become a member of the Chamber of Commerce. Which I was kind of skeptical, like, first of all, for why do you want me to be a member? Second of all, how much is this shit gonna run me, yo? How much y'all trying to dig in my pockets for an annual membership? So it actually, am I getting this? Am I getting this? It's actually, I don't know, it seems like it could help me. It seems like it could help, but they clearly said that just by being a member, shit ain't just gonna flow to you magically. You're gonna have to like build connections and relationships and come out into the community and kind of get your face out there as well, but they will definitely help promote you. And there's over 1,000 members, and normally when members need something for their business or their organization, or even in their private life, if they need something, they look to the chamber first for resources or people. People are one of the biggest resources. And so once they explain that, I'm like, okay. But, you got to be in the mix. You got to be in the group. You got to be active with your membership so that people know who you are and know what you do. So I'm like, good. All that sounds good. Ding, 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 ding. Bro, so the lady who, all right, so last week or the week before, I got a phone call, and it was about a paint and sip, and that was the same lady I met with today. So she's an employee of the Chamber of Commerce, but she's only been working there for a month. She's been a member for 3 years, and she just decided to get a job there. But no, not 3 years. Yeah, maybe she said 3 years. 2 years? 3 years? Anyway, but she used to work with me where I work at now. She left there, on her own accord. It's not like she got fired or anything. She's just like, nah, it's not for me. She left and, focused on her own business. And I guess she needs employment, or she wants employment, and she works at the chamber. But she's Spanish. She's a Spanish woman. And she said there's hardly any minorities there at all. And she thinks that they brought her on trying to expand and be more inclusive and more diverse with their membership. And now that she's in there, she's like ramping this shit up 100-fold. And she's like, she's going to bring in the Nepalese and Spanish and African American and Asian and every other minority, and try to get, representation from every community to be a part of the chamber. So I'm like, that's fucking awesome. And then I'm like, once again, how much this shit gonna cost me? And she told me to take a guess. I was like,
I said, your memberships are annual? Like, she's like, yeah. I said, okay, for an annual membership, what y'all charge? Like $1,500 or something? She's like, no, we don't charge no $1,500. I was like, $1,000. She's like, nope. And then she pulled the little paper out with their price listings on it. And if you're a business owner with, if you're a business owner and you have anywhere from 1 to 6 employees, it costs you less than $1 a day to be a member of the chamber. It's $360 a year. $360 a year for a company that has 1 to 6 employees. $360, 365 days in a year. I'm like, that's less than $1 a day. So that might be worth it right there. That might be my selling point, to be a part of an organization that's basically a networking organization for less than $1 a day. $0.89 a day. I might be able to do that. I might be able to make that happen. Sounds like illegal pyramid schemes. Not really, because how? A pyramid scheme, people try to get you to sell products or services. LinkedIn is free. I got a LinkedIn account. With 1 to 6 employees, you can just be a sole proprietorship, one person, solo dolo by yourself, and still be a member. Be a solo dolo member. I think I'm gonna sign up for it and at least do it for a year. And at the end of the first year, if I haven't made any connections or been able to put my art or even my brush holder in front of a group of people that have never seen it, then I'll have to evaluate at the end if it's worth another year of it. But I need to boost up my LinkedIn. My profile is just basic as shit. I'll be on there looking for jobs though. Paintings by the Prince. Paintings by the Prince is my sole proprietorship. I keep thinking about getting a LLC. I just be lazy doing the computer work and shit. Tomorrow morning, we will do computer work, guys. I gotta work on that website a little bit tomorrow because I haven't done anything since I set it up the first time. I ripped this off yesterday too. I need to glue this back down. I wanna glue it right there, right here. But yeah, it's all like the networking stuff, man. That's not my forte. I'd definitely be needing help on that shit. So even if I can make a connection with a social media manager, a local person who I can actually sit down and chat with and talk to, or The art manager or something. You know what they say, man. It ain't what you know. It ain't never what you know. Oh, damn. I threw that other piece away. Son of a bitch. Oh, is this the piece? I don't know. I thought I had a piece already ready. This might be a piece I was going to use. Or if not, I can just use it anyway. For $1 a day? And then, if I make some decent connections and build the right relationships and enough rapport, even if I leave and don't continue my membership, it's not like I haven't met people. If Mark, whatever, gives me his business card, it's like, yeah, man, call me, bro, so we can set up an event. I got a hall or an event space, and it'll be perfect for an art show for the first Friday, and blah 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 blah. And if I do something like that, and then the following year I'm not a member, it's not like I don't know this motherfucker. Yo, bro, what's up? Let's do another event, man. Oh, you not gonna fuck with me because I'm not a member of the chamber? I don't like this piece for some reason. And I could have swore I already had another piece I wanted to use for this shoulder part. But then also he needs the heel. What's that dance? What is the heel toe? He needs this, right? Yeah. You see that? Yo. When I was a kid, bedtime was 9 p.m. I couldn't wait to be a grown up so I can go to bed anytime I want. Turns out that it's 9 p.m. Yo, if that's not me, bro, I swear, I'm in bed at 9 o'clock. I said facts, but that's only because we're up at 4 a.m. Reloading. This is fucking amazing. This dude, he's paralyzed. He's playing fucking Call of Duty with a joystick he's controlling with his mouth, yo. How? Everybody heard the new song? I need a beat now. Oh my God.
Outside in the coldest winter, you don't want to get frostbite while you're working outside. These gloves might be for you. Not only these waterproof and windproof, you not have to worry about conspiracy theories all day.
You just calm down. Gigi is fired up because Gigi heard that some new Epstein files just dropped.
What?
That some new Epstein emails and.
Okay, so. Democrats couldn't get what they want after the government, 42 days of government shutdown, and they couldn't come to an agreement. The Democrats still ain't really get what they want. And then all of a sudden, we got some new Epstein files. This is
images and all sorts of stuff just dropped, and they are not only spicy, but they appear to be intentionally spicy. They appear to be designed to be spicy. I'm sure you've heard about them. I'm sure you've seen. I'm sure you know a little bit by now. But we're going to deep dive into them a little bit tonight. We're going to do the overview. We're actually going to look at them. I'm going to show you what format they're coming in, where you can find them for yourself. And I'm going to show you some of my process for how I analyze these kinds of research dumps, these document dumps, because they're not actually as accessible as you might like to think that they would be. I want to give people a little bit of time to get in here because it's kind of an emergency stream. Not a lot of people know that we're in here, and we have some new formatting. So if you're watching this after the fact, you can skip ahead a little bit, hit that right arrow button a few times, and you'll get ahead to where we actually start the content in about 5 minutes or so. But
it's going to take you 5 minutes.
Tonight we're trying something new. The answer, that'd be a great coach. You can't fool me, dog. I lived in Guatemala for like 2.5 years. Total. Spread out, but you know what I mean. So, are there any other announcements I need to make? I already mentioned the Twitch. If you want to follow along with that, Matt, Trump, and what's up with the global pedophile trafficking networks that run this world, give us a shout out for where you're from, where you're tuning in from. I'm peeping the YouTube chat right now. A choo-choo, this train is leaving the station. Yeah. Let me also get these settings straight. I see Florida in there. Yeah, Florida for sure. I see Canada and Louisiana. Yeah. Man, it's hard to even keep up with YouTube. Washington State. Let's go. Shout out to my home state. Maryland, Mexico, Austin, Texas. Hey, I'm in Austin. England. Yeah. Netherlands. Let's go. YouTube's got all kinds of different places in the chat. Texas, Oregon, Connecticut in the Twitch chat. Denver, Long Island, Pennsylvania, United Kingdom, Wales. Let's go, dude. Oregon, Mississippi, Ohio, Carlton, Georgia, Maui, Australia, coming up from down under. Let's do it, baby. Cool. Cool. Shout out to all of y'all. Legends. Legends. Thanks for tuning in from all around the world, from all over the country. This is a big story. It's definitely not a simple story. It's not as simple as all the left-wing media wants it to be right now. But it's also not as simple as Trump wants it to be. And I'm happy to criticize everybody. So we're just going to criticize everybody tonight. Sound good? They're all on the table. All these rich billionaires, all of these oligarchs, all of these P-files, they are all on the chopping block. We do not care. We have zero party affiliation here. Our only affiliation is with the truth. You might call that God. You might just call it the truth. It's up to you. So, I say we get this show on the road. I am very proud of what we have for you tonight. I am very proud. I was scrambling while I was watching Candace, which was a banger of a show all on its own. But I was scrambling behind the scenes while watching Candace to get this research report ready for you. Because where you actually get this document drop from is from the House Oversight Committee releases additional Epstein estate documents. If I expand it, you can see the URL up there, but you can just search for it and find it. And they drop it in kind of a funny format. The documents can be found here or here, and it's just either a Google Drive download or a Dropbox download. And they're both extremely disorganized. When you download them, this is the folder that you get. You get data, images. This is the zip file for the images that I'll get rid of now. You don't need that. You get natives and you get text. The data is just a mess. I don't even know what that is. I don't have an app for that. The images is a whole bunch of JPEGs with no context. You'd have to open them all one by one. I learned this trick today. If you press spacebar, you get it to just pop out like that. Which is like, I'm sure there's a lot of interesting shit in here. I just don't, how are we ever going to analyze this, bro? This is you, like, come on. A lot of these are attachments. You go into different folders, right? 10, it's like, what are all these? These are just attachments. In 12, it looks like we have actual emails, privileged, redacted. That's interesting. From Darren Indyke to Jeffrey Epstein. These are names we know, right? But like, how on earth is any investigative reporter actually going to comb through all of these emails? That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous, right? So clearly, we need some way to compile all of these files into one place that's searchable, that's scrollable, that's analyzable. And so your boy was working hard in the background, just mashing away on the keys, trying to get this shit ready in time. And we just finished just like 10 minutes ago. And it's definitely not in its final form, but it's in a form that we can at least show you kind of the scope of what's going on here. And we can show you where this investigation is going to go in the coming days. So I present to you the Epstein documents collection in custom AI-generated viewing format, where the files have all been linked together now into one database, all of them put here with their text file as it appears in the text folder, linked to any images that might correlate with said file. So now we can actually sort of organize this stuff and look through it. Hey, Joy Ito. We know that name. Joy Ito was talking to Jeffrey Epstein. MIT is not going to be too happy. When I told Reed, I wonder which Reed they're talking about, that Obama just wanted to make money, he thought I was being cynical, as he was sure that doing good was going to be the goal. Ha, lol. Reed's a sucker. So,
I'm Sora 2, the new AI in town.
We're not afraid. Artlist got them all.
If you wanted to know,
we're not afraid. Artlist got them all. Shouldn't it be Artlist has them all? Why would they use improper grammar in a commercial like that? Anyway.
2,897 total documents in this drop. There are apparently, in total, amongst all these files, 55 million characters. That doesn't matter, but thanks, AI. Trump is mentioned 9,379 times.
God damn.
The phrase Prince Andrew appears 492 times. The phrase Epstein appears 17,760 times. And I double checked this by doing my own Command F function, and I get back 9,828 instances of the name Trump in all of these text files all throughout. That is not searching the images of the actual emails, it is just searching the text files. But it starts to give you a sense of the scope of these folders and these files. And a lot of it is useless. Like, this is just praise for the 4-hour work week. Like, cool, bro. Who cares? Not useful. That's just getting in our way. We don't need to see a bunch of excerpts from Tim Ferriss's book. Holy crap. Now I can't even close it. Get out of here, bro. Right? You see the problem that researchers run into with this shit. You see the things we put up with. Gosh, Tim Ferriss, write a shorter book, bro. I don't have a 5-hour work week to deal with this trash. For real, dog. So, this is not going to be the core of our reporting today. This is just my tool that I'm going to be using in order to do more research into this in the future, corroborate the research and reporting of the mainstream media, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If you guys think of anything that you want us to search in this, sequence, give us a holler in the super chats or something. Like, for example, it just occurs to me that I wonder if Ivory Coast is mentioned anywhere in here. Seems to be indicating that it's in this file, but maybe it's in the one above it. Because just earlier today, we were reporting on Ivory Coast. But maybe I'm misunderstanding its formatting here. It's mentioned 7 times throughout these documents, apparently. And oh boy, did we have a whole stream about Ivory Coast earlier today. But not the point of tonight's stream. Tonight we're going to stay high level. We're going to look at the whole big picture. And we're going to try to decode what exactly is going on from files, from the reporting, and from the context. So, first and foremost, if you don't know, Thomas Massie has been leading the charge for quite some time now to try to get a vote through into the House and into the Senate to force the release of the entire cache of Epstein files of all forms that the FBI is holding on to. You can argue about whether you think that that will actually do anything. You can argue about whether you think that the files have already been edited, selectively deleted and destroyed, redacted in ways that kind of make them useless. Possibly things have been added to them. It's hard to say. We really don't know what's in them and how useful they'll be. I doubt that there's like a client list, but ultimately more transparency is obviously better, and there's no reason why anyone should be voting against it. So it's a little weird that all of the Republicans almost have been voting against the release of these files. And they had arrived at a stalemate where they needed one more vote. And it turned out that that vote was about to get elected by the name of Adelita Grijalva. And then the government shut down. conveniently, accidentally, whoopsie-daisily, I guess we can't keep on going with the government stuff. Who knows why? I have no idea why. I can't imagine why. But it just stalled out for a while. And then today, it all resumed. Not literally today. I guess 2 days ago, I think. I could be wrong on that. And when you look into Adelita Grijalva, first Arizona Latina in Congress. Okay. You notice some interesting stuff. Not so much interested in this article, other than the photo to get a little. It's good to have a visual for who we're talking about here. This is Adelita right here. I'm more interested in who is funding this stuff, who's funding Adelita, and who's funding her opposition, right? Because if you have a theory, a hypothesis, you might say, you should be able to test that hypothesis. As in, if you hypothesize that Israeli interests don't really want the Epstein files released because it would probably expose just how deeply involved Epstein was with Israeli intelligence, you would assume that you would see some level of Israeli involvement in trying to push against the release of these files, aside from, bought and paid for Congress people voting against them. And we sort of see that, but it's not so simple. And it's weird. It's interesting. So when you look into the donors to Adelita and to her, I guess, primary opposition, Daniel Hernandez, as well as Deja Fox, I'm not sure how she pronounces it. Adelita.
Remember when Silk Vocals was free only on Black Friday? Or when IDX dropped free only on Black Friday?
I don't remember none of that shit.
Took in a total of $834,000.
You okay, bro?
Hernandez took in a total of $981,000. And Fox a total of $600,000. And by my very limited understanding of this race, Hernandez was like the main opposition here that they thought might win over her. I'm going to shrink this down, see if it shrinks with me. No, maybe I'll zoom out. There we go. So, Hernandez's mostly was contributions in Arizona. And Fox got a lot of contributions across the nation. And Grijalva mostly in Arizona. But what about the Israel lobby? Okay. Hernandez received the most PAC and group funding out of all the Democratic candidates. Some of those donors were DMFI PAC, which supports candidates who are pro-Israel, as well as Energy Corporation PAC, Southwest Gas Corporation PAC, Equality PAC. This is Democrats after all. Grijalva, on the other hand, was mostly like smaller donors. She did have some PAC contributions, but no Israel funding as far as I could tell. And if you look, DMFI PAC, this pro-Israel PAC, endorsed Daniel Hernandez. But when you look a little deeper, did I still have it open? Maybe I didn't. Maybe I closed it. You look a little deeper and you realize that like AIPAC didn't get involved in this race. A bunch of the big Israel lobby didn't get involved in the race. Hernandez raised more money, but not like a crazy amount more. And you start to be like, that's interesting. It doesn't really feel like Israel was that concerned with this race. Not sure why. Not sure if that's because it was just doomed and they were just going to lose anyways, or if it's because they don't care if the files come out, or if Epstein didn't even work for Israel. Maybe he worked for Morocco. Who knows? But the facts are the facts, and you can't shape the facts to fit your narrative. And so when you have a hypothesis and the facts don't exactly fit your hypothesis, maybe a little bit, but not a ton, it means that you should kind of ask some questions about like what's the motivations here, what's going on here, and we'll get into that. But first, post from Thomas Massie on X today. Today, right? Yes. In spite of a last-ditch effort by the president to foil the motion and Speaker Johnson's propaganda, the discharge petition I have been leading just succeeded. In December, the entire House of Representatives will vote on releasing the Epstein files. Fingers crossed. December feels like it's a long ways away still. But yes, Thomas Massie, way to go. You're the man, total legend. I like this dude. You know, you can listen to the Benny Johnson propaganda all you want about him, but I don't see any of his heroes voting to release these files. And maybe now we know why. Because House Democrats released new Epstein emails that reference Trump, and they reference him very directly. And they're all sure to run with. It's almost like they'd already taken time to look through them and had prepared their reporting specifically to be this way, so that they would be ready when these files dropped to all have the exact quotes they wanted to have. All have the exact emails pulled out of that huge cache of like 2,800 emails or whatever it is. They were all ready with some pretty salacious ones picked out that if you haven't heard them yet, well, this one is from Ghislaine Maxwell, GMax, to Jeffrey Epstein, J-E Vacation at Gmail. I've been thinking about that in response to this. I want you to realize that that dog hasn't barked, that dog that hasn't barked is Trump. Redacted victim spent hours at my house with him. He has never once been mentioned. Police chief, etc. I'm 75% there. What does it mean? One would presume it's obviously intended to appear as though that means that Epstein and Ghislaine are discussing the fact that Trump is in on this and he knows about it, and he's the dog that hasn't barked yet. No one knows. Everyone's kept it quiet. They've covered it all up. No one knows that Trump is dirty, but redacted victim spent hours with him at my house. Looks pretty sus. This was sent in 2011. All right. Okay. Here's the other one that's being passed around from Michael Wolff in 2015, December 16th of 2015. Importance high. I think you should let him hang himself. If he says he hasn't been on the plane or to the house, then that gives you a valuable PR and political currency. So this is from Michael Wolff to Jeffrey Epstein. You can hang him in a way that potentially generates a positive benefit for you. Or if it really looks like he could win, you could save him, generating a debt. This is called blackmail, folks. Of course, it is possible that when asked, he'll say Jeffrey is a great guy and has gotten a raw deal. Where have we heard that before? And is a victim of political correctness, which is to be outlawed in a Trump regime. If we were able to craft an answer for him, what do you think it should be? I hear CNN planning to ask Trump tonight about his relationship with you, either on air or in scrum afterwards.
This fall, heel pain and sore arches won't stop you. Hand-stitched leather boots deliver lasting comfort. Arch support eases pain, keeps autumn walks comfortable and strong. Waterproof shoes built to last. Handle wet leaves, tailgates, rainy hikes, aging into rich.
So you can see them planning how to use this leverage to the maximum effect. But, very important to note, and I know a lot of you out here don't want to hear this. Obviously, I think that Trump is deeply compromised by this in some way. I have my suspicions about his days in the pageantry. I have my suspicions about his time with Roy Cohn. I certainly don't think that Trump is innocent in any way, but it is important to note that this is just a few emails of text. This is not proof of anything, okay? And furthermore, it's important to consider, though you may decide that, though upon consideration, it's not that likely, but it is important to consider that if you were Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell or Michael Wolff, you know, anyone in Epstein's circle here, that even if you didn't have Trump hooked on something, even if you didn't have him on video, You could still generate a paper trail like this that would incriminate him, that you could hold over him in some sort of attempt. It's conceivable. I don't think that's what we're seeing, but it's important to think about and to be aware that this is complex, okay? Because, predictably, as this is released, all of the left-leaning media is all over it. And all of the right-leaning media is, shall we say, singing a different tune, somewhat predictably. White House slams Dems' bad faith Epstein doc release as demand for files intensifies. Isn't that a spin? Is that not a hell of a spin? Republicans call document release cherry-picked as discharge petition nears consideration in the House. Yeah, it's cherry-picked out of the thousands of emails in the cache. Certainly they picked some salacious ones. Obviously there was some premeditation on behalf of these reporters. Like, I know from how journalism works and from looking at the files myself, I know that these reporters had access to these files before we did. I know that they had a pre-planned narrative constructed already. They'd already found the ones they wanted to release. They'd already crafted that, shared it around, obviously. But that doesn't necessarily mean that this is not the story. That does not mean that just because they cherry-picked them, that Trump is innocent. We saw the birthday book earlier this year. Evidence has been mounting. And we're all living in the middle of the most Zog presidency ever. Like, this presidency is more pro-Israel than any Democrat in my lifetime. And that's including Clinton. The man himself. The dog himself. Bill Clinton. Who is mentioned many times in these emails, I might add, obviously. But it's important to take your time. Don't rush to conclusions. Notice the bias of the various outlets reporting on this. Obviously, CNN, ABC, MSNBC, all the affiliated, they're obviously trying to pin Trump as hard as they can to the wall and pretend like this proves that he, you know, to underage girls. And maybe he did. And obviously, Fox is trying to spin a whole different narrative. And generally, like most of the right-wing news, is just ignoring it so far. Although I'm sure they'll figure it out and have to report on it at some point. In times like this, probably good to resort to sources like Law and Crime, for example. Quote, I know how dirty Donald is. Jeffrey Epstein email Goldmine shows he watched Trump's legal issues closely in years before his death. Epstein watched lots of things closely. He and Ehud were very much on the beat of a lot of important stories, like Hillary's election campaign, like Donald Trump's campaign, like various criminal cases and legal woes. So, the House Democrats released these files. I've not really seen an explanation so far, and to be clear, I've not had a lot of time to dig, but I have not yet seen an explanation for why they released them right now. And how did they get, like, if we don't have the files, then how'd you get the files? Who gave you the files, guys? It's possible that that is forthcoming in the reporting, and I just haven't gotten there yet. But it's a little suspicious, right? It's a little suspicious. Notably, here, let me pull this back up. Notably, the email exchange took place 8 years after the happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret from this birthday book, right? We've got a long history going on here. And now we've got quite a bit of gaps filled from the leaked emails from Ehud Barak to these leaked emails and correspondences, to the birthday book, the flight logs, the black book, all sorts of ongoing reporting, okay? It's pretty spicy. And there's a lot going on with it. And I know that everyone's going to be jumping to their conclusions. Everyone's got an opinion. Everyone wants to go one way or the other. Everyone's going to be very hot-tempered about it. That's cool. You do you. Personally, I've been through enough of these by now to know that it's never as simple as the first report. I have my own opinions about Trump, and I think we all can see the evidence of who owns him, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean that the story is the way the Democrats paint it. Ultimately, what we're all waiting for is the full release of all the files. And actually, I want to pull up Trump's statements about this. Trump comments Epstein document release. "10 hours ago, 12 minutes ago, that's ongoing."
Christmas songs already?
I want to find the statement that Trump made today.
We are going to get to my remarks in Q&A as always, but I do have the FBI director with me here, Kash Patel. You all know him well.
It's already 5 o'clock.
And he's here to provide an update for you all with respect to China. As you know, President Trump had a very successful meeting on his trip.
It's achieved everything.
Okay, Kash. We spent all night last night mocking Kash Patel because of his girlfriend and her lawsuits. Don't call her a honeypot, just so you know. If you didn't know, don't call her an Israeli honeypot. She'll sue you for $5 million, allegedly, maybe, possibly, in my opinion, satirically. A whole video about that will be up my YouTube later, full of sarcasm and certainly no allegations.
Thank you again, Director Patel. Before we get going, I do have one quick scheduling announcement. Tomorrow, President Trump will be joined by the First Lady in the East Room. In less than 10 short months, President Trump signed the largest middle-class tax cuts times now. However, he has always been very frank when he disagrees with leaders against President Trump, as we have, course, seen with this government shutdown. And this entire thing, again, it's not a coincidence to the American people at home. There are no coincidences in Washington, D.C. And it is not a coincidence that the Democrats leaked these emails to the fake news this morning ahead of Republicans reopening the government. This is another distraction campaign by the Democrat and the liberal media, and it's why I'm being asked questions about Epstein instead of the government reopening because of Republicans.
No, actually, you're being asked questions about Epstein because your boss seems to be involved in it pretty heavily, and because all of the American people want to know if we're being ruled over and paying taxes to pedophiles, Caroline. And if you're so out of touch, I mean, obviously you know that, but you can't say that because it's your job not to. But just to be clear, we voted for the Epstein files, and your boss said repeatedly, yeah, we'll release them, no problem. And here we are a year later. Your boy Kash ran on day one, release them all. And then someone cut his balls off and shoved them down his own throat. And now he's... So yeah, yes, obviously you're getting asked questions about Epstein instead of your stupid political drama that is all made up. This political theater, duh. But we all know that. And so do you, Caroline. But anyways, please continue.
And President Trump.
Given your interest in transparency, Caroline, why are White House officials then meeting with Representative Boebert in an effort to try and get her to not sign this petition calling for the release of the files?
Doesn't it show transparency that members of the Trump administration are willing to brief members of Congress?
Doesn't it show transparency when all of the Republicans are voting against releasing the files and they've done everything they can to not release the files? You know what's going to be the best is watching the Zio bots on Twitter tonight, probably right this moment, screech about how releasing the Epstein files doesn't even matter and no one even cares. I can't wait to see Ben Shapiro's take on this one. Please, Ben, tell us what we're supposed to think about the Epstein files. I'm waiting for your magnanimous opinion to tell me how I'm supposed to think. Unfortunately, Donald Trump is not in this video.
We are following some breaking news.
I saw a clip of him earlier that actually maybe I'll just go to X because it's the better search engine at this point, and we'll search it out. Trump comments Epstein release. That's August 1st. It's July 15th. Yeah, this is going to be interesting, guys. X is going to be an absolute shit show tonight. We're not going to go through it all now. Definitely not going to listen to that song on stream now. But I'll go through it all later, and we'll probably do a live stream about that tomorrow. That being said, we will make one exception to listen to Jack Posobiec, not a Fed, give us his take.
Big deal. And so when I read this thing about, this thing of, we don't, unless I'm pulling it up, I don't see any other.
And to be clear, Jack Posobiec is not a Fed anymore. He no longer works for military intelligence. Don't you dare bring it up.
Or at least he says he does.
He's an authoritative journalist source that is not captured.
Or, chain here. I just see the one email, so I don't know what he's responding to. So, which is a tell, by the way. Which is, why wouldn't, that's a great tell. Yeah.
Now he has me wondering what Ben Shapiro response to this is. One day ago.
Hand warmers, don't wait until it's cold out to grab these and get them now so that you're actually prepared for when it gets.
More Epstein emails drop and the media go insane, but is there any there? Plus, we'll get to the government shutdown, President Trump's affordability pitch, and much more. First, we had 10,000 lifetime memberships when we launched. Fewer than 2,000 remain. One payment, all access for life, and just a reminder, lifetime memberships will never go on sale. Go to dailywire.com/lifetime to lock your in today. Also, our new live show, Friendly Fire, returns next Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern on Daily Wire Plus. Join Matt Walsh, Michael Knowles, Andrew Clayton, and me as we do what we do best: debate, discuss, disagree on the biggest stories in politics and culture. Plus, we are world premiering the first official trailer for the Pendragon cycle, Rise of the Merlin. Don't miss it. Friendly Fire next Wednesday, November 19th at 7 p.m. Eastern, only on Daily Wire Plus. Folks, well, it's a brand new day, and that means it's time for more Epstein revelations. Now, the reason these Epstein revelations are happening, because there was a discharge petition that was put forward late last night in the House of Representatives, signed on to by several stray Republicans, rogue Republicans, some of whom are very much oriented against the Trump administration, in order to shame President Trump by saying that there ought to be a widespread release of more documents. In a little while, we'll get to what exactly this discharge petition would do, even if it were passed in the House and then passed again in the Senate, which again is likely to die in the Senate. But Democrats had to chum the waters. They had to make everybody interested in Epstein again. So they decided to do this in their usual fashion, which is to selectively release 3 emails. 3. Republicans then responded by releasing 20,000 emails, but Democrats released 3. Supposed to be a shame tactic directed at President Trump that was going to demonstrate full scale that he was in Jeffrey Epstein's pocket, or that Jeffrey Epstein was blackmailing Donald Trump, or that Jeffrey Epstein had untoward material about Trump, which is why Trump has been so reluctant to allow for the release of more materials. The reason that President Trump has said that he is not into the release of more materials is he says there are already tens of thousands of pages of materials out there. Already barred the release of an enormous number of these materials on the basis of victim protection, and the FBI is doing the same. You can yell and scream about it as much as you want, but these discharge petitions, these attempts to pry more documents out, they are likely to fail even on the court level. So really what this is, according to President Trump, an attempt to, by implication, humiliate him. And it really does feel like that based on what Democrats did yesterday. So Democrats dropped 3 emails. 3 emails were, shall we say, then with regard to the broad conspiracy theories that have been put out there about Jeffrey Epstein. Now, 1,000 times, there are true, open, honest questions to be asked about Jeffrey Epstein. How did he make all of his money come from? Was one media mogul paying him something like $158 million do his taxes and look for tax breaks? Mogul giving him access to a $70 million home in Manhattan, right? These are very real questions that require very real answers. The realm has been filled with the most outlandish speculation. For a full case that you have heard retailed in public by many prominent figures is the idea that Jeffrey Epstein was running a child sex trafficking ring, not on behalf of himself, in which he preyed on underage girls. That was the thing that Ghislaine Maxwell's in jail for. The thing she's in jail for is that she helped Jeffrey Epstein procure underage girls for him to violate. And not for Bill Clinton to violate, or Donald Trump to violate, or random public figures to violate, for Jeffrey Epstein to violate. Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison. That's what she was convicted of. That's what the accusations were. That has been blown into conspiracy involving the idea that Jeffrey Epstein brought in a bunch of underage girls and a bunch of prominent people and then blackmailed them after taking tapes of them. There is no evidence to this effect. Tracy, who's been all over this for years, with whom I frequently disagree, he's done a very good job digging into the details here. Evidence to the effect that that was happening. Thinking on behalf of third parties, as opposed to on behalf of himself. It doesn't answer the question as to where all this money was coming from a couple of figures in particular. Was he blackmailing those guys? Sure, that could be. Donald Trump, Bill Clinton, any of the other wide variety of figures mentioned in connection with this. Unless you have evidence, it's very difficult to make claims about them. And then that has been blown into an even bigger conspiracy theory that basically Jeffrey Epstein was a foreign agent acting on behalf of a foreign power, these guys, in order to blackmail them to change policy. Evidence of that just doesn't exist. Dan Bongino, Kash Patel, the president, the vice president, they would have an obligation to tell you that, telling you the opposite. And I ask, where is the evidence? Speculation, it's a free country, you can speculate, but stop pretending that speculation is evidence. Okay, so that's the backdrop of all of this. So Democrats are trying to underscore allegations that basically Donald Trump was being blackmailed by Jeffrey Epstein by releasing emails, 3. And responded by dumping 20,000 emails into the public view, some of which are embarrassing for people like Larry Summers, but a weird relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, just kind of on a personal level. But supposedly embarrassing emails involving Donald Trump, there's no there. All right, we'll get into the exact content of the emails that have been released in just a moment. First, here's the irony. Our military fights for our overseas freedom, while over here at home, some of those freedoms are going away. Your phone's listening, tech companies are tracking every click you make. They're profiting off your private data. Legally, by the way. Fighting for freedom isn't just a military job. We have to protect ourselves as well, which is why I use ExpressVPN every day. ExpressVPN routes all your online activity through secure encrypted servers, so data brokers, tech companies, and government agencies can't even see what you're doing. And here's the proof. In the last year alone, ExpressVPN received over 400,000 data requests from governments and corporations wanting user data. They handed over exactly 0. Why? Well, they have a strict zero logs policy. They literally don't have your data to share. It takes one click to turn on, works on everything from your phone to your smart TV, and you can protect up to 14 devices all at once, which means your whole family gets protected with one account. Whenever I'm traveling, I'm using public Wi-Fi. That means that I need to be protected because, listen, my data is my business. Sometimes the best defense is just taking back control of your privacy, and that starts with ExpressVPN. Right now, get an extra 4 months when you use my special link. Go to expressvpn.com/Ben. Get 4 extra months of ExpressVPN. That's expressvpn.com/Ben. Also, a recent Danish study found something deeply concerning. Just 1 year after an abortion, women were 50% more likely to need psychiatric treatment and 87% more likely to experience personality or behavioral disorders. Those aren't just stats. They represent real women facing real struggles. That's why Preborn takes a different approach. When a woman walks through their doors uncertain and afraid, she finds something she may not have expected, genuine support. Through an ultrasound, she meets her baby for the first time, and suddenly, what felt like an impossible situation begins to look like something different. But preborn doesn't stop there. When a woman
And how about a banana? Nano Banana is now on Artlist.io, so you can edit any image you want into a banana, of course. With Nano Banana's flawless consistency, you can generate only the banana you love most.
Top Daddy DB.
another set of acrylic paints.
Boots are made for adventures in the wild and for surviving the hard work. Buy them now and thank me later.
Alright, we about to try to fuck around with these acrylics. Y'all know I'm gonna be fucking with acrylic paints, man. We about to see what we can make it do what it do real quick. You know what? I gotta get some brushes first too. Wait a minute. I got some brushes? You don't got like what the brushes do on it? Oh my god. probably use this as a babysitter. Alright, I got some brushes. I got some paint. I need what else? I got the palette. I just need some water. Got a little bit of water here. I got some water. Now let's. Ooh, no, let's put a lid on this shit. Laying around if I fucking stab myself and bleed out in the studio. I ain't trying to bleed out on camera.
Chase cubes?
Now that beat fire, bro. They say it's a Kanye West type beat. What happened? I did not mean to do that. I hit something I ain't supposed to hit.
It looks like an ordinary hiking stick. This is from Rhino USA, and it's built for way more than walking.
explore it. A little bit illusion, a little allegory. Sit back, let me keep you a story. A little bit illusion, a little allegory. You a story, yeah. Let me kick you a story about my story, my story. A little story. Now we're gonna let this dry, come back and draw a face on it. Start detailing the face with some acrylic paints. Then we gotta figure out what we're gonna paint on our easel. So, and I'm gonna sit down and use this easel too, like my regular easel. So we're gonna set this up right here. We're gonna paint something on this motherfucker. I don't know what yet though. It's gonna be a landscape. Should we do a forest scene or a mountain scene or ocean scene or some kind of landscape? And with a Bob Ross type style shit. I could have been making my own easels, man. I don't even know I'd be tripping on myself, bro. I don't even know I'd be tripping just buying shit all the time, nigga. I could have been making cardboard easels this whole time. Man, get the fuck out of here, dude. Yeah, what should we draw? The planets, maybe Mars. A couple of the stars, like, that shit look bizarre. Yeah, what should we draw? Maybe some pyramids. Maybe some infants. Maybe some relatives. Little babies. Walking, going crazy. No, I'm never lazy. So fuck you, baby. Can't figure it out. If I do it like this, no. I need some inspiration for some scenery. A forest. Let me draw some trees, all the leaves, all the evergreens.
Safe like repair, safe like replace.
1 minute, it's smooth driving. Come on. Next, a crack. But at least you can get it fixed now and pay later in 4 interest-free payments at SafeLight.com. Nice. And SafeLight can come to you for free, anytime, anywhere, and do everything you need to get back on the road. SafeLight repair.
SafeLight repair.
SafeLight replace.
I could probably do a forest scene. A stump graveyard, damn. Hey, because way the trees went, they turned into cardboard. This motherfucker a genius. This motherfucker is a genius. Damn, bro. A stump graveyard? You know I can't give you credit for that shit, right? Damn. And then on the back, that shit says, made in China. I started peeling that shit off. I was like, you know what? I think I will leave that. Made in China. That's all you. Sure appreciate it. All right, we did an hour and a half. I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here. I'm hungry. I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I had a long ass day and I didn't eat all my lunch today. So I had to go to the prison and do my class. I started a new class today. And so my prison class is from 10:30 until noon. And then as soon as I left the prison, I had to go to the Chamber of Commerce. to do that meeting. That took about, set for almost an hour. And then as soon as I got off the phone with the Chamber of Commerce, I had to go to the Chamber of Commerce to do that meeting. That took about, set for almost an hour. And then as soon as I got off the phone with the Chamber of Commerce, I had to go to the Chamber of Commerce to do that meeting. That took about, set for almost an hour. And then as soon as I got off the phone with the Chamber of Commerce, I had to go to the Chamber of Commerce to do that meeting. That took about, set for almost an hour. And then as soon as I got off the phone with the Chamber of Commerce, I had to go to the Chamber of Commerce to do that meeting. That took about, set for almost an hour. And then as soon as I got off the phone with the Chamber of Commerce, I had to go to the Chamber of Commerce to do that meeting. That took about, set for almost an hour. And then as soon as I got off the phone with the Chamber of Commerce, I had to go to the Chamber of Commerce to do that meeting. That took about, And then I had a 1 o'clock scheduled. And so as soon as I got back to the office, my appointment was already sitting there waiting on me. And so I had to handle them. And that took so that was about from 1 until 2. And we leave the office at 2:30. So I sat down and tried to eat like at 10 minutes after 2. I was like, I'm about to eat this shit before I go home. And then I forgot that my coworker, her car was at the shop. And so she needed a ride to go get her car. And so I'm like, she's like, are you ready to go? I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just not going to eat this food. Ate like a couple of bites of it. And I was like, let's go. So you're going to get your car. And then we're going to get her car. We're like a couple of blocks away from the office. And I realized I left my phone in the office. I had to turn around, go back, get my phone and my headphones. My phone and my headphones. Left them bitches in the office. I was like, God damn it, man. All right. Good right there. All right. Whew. Anyway, I sure appreciate y'all hanging out with me. Let me go ahead and turn this damn shit off in here. Move my cardboard easel out the way. All right, radio off. Heater off. Top light off. Got my phone. I'll turn this thing off. Hot glue gun off. I'm gonna off it and unplug this bitch because I don't think I'm gonna glue anything else. I was thinking about gluing his head on, but I might not even glue his head on, man. If we do, we'll do it later. Anyway, all right, that's good. Now, I ain't bring nothing to drink up here or nothing. No. All right, well. I say, man, I appreciate everybody hanging out with me this evening, this big Friday. On these short days, it'd be dark as hell, early as shit, man. I'm about to go have me some dinner. I'll probably hop on the game for a little while. I take my ass to bed early because I say we need to get up and I really need to put a few good hours in on that website tomorrow. I need to do that. And found another issue with my new used vehicle that I'm gonna have to work on tomorrow. Matter of fact, damn. Well, I can do that while I eat. While I eat dinner, I probably have to watch some YouTube videos. My windshield washer squirter things is not working. I don't know if I already said that. I put fluid when I checked it, there wasn't no fluid in it at all. So I put fluid in it, then I hit the button. That shit's still not working. Son of a bitch. And we got crazy ass winters. It's about to be wintertime, man. Just driving on the highway on a sleety ass day with the vehicles in front of you kicking up sleet and slush. You gotta have like washer fluid. So I'm gonna get up. First thing, we're gonna work on the website a little bit. Then see if I can go figure out what the fuck is wrong with my windshield washer, if it's the pump or if it's the hose or I don't know. And then after that, come back in the studio because we're gonna need to work on this face and this landscape painting. So it seems like a busy day doing bullshit tomorrow. But anyway, I will not keep you and bore you any further. I'll get with you guys in the morning. I hope y'all have a good evening. Peace. Catch y'all in the next one. We out here.